Hi.
like
Is
this working?
we don't know.
Are we doing this right?
Okay.
We've never done this before. Yay! Girls and cocktails are person.
Yay.
Finally,
She's here.
it's happening. Murphy is very excited.
Yeah, Murphy, you need to go sit down, dude. You're on my last.
He's also quite mad that I'm taking his spot. So
I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad about it.
Sorry, bud.
How is everyone? It's Saturday. It's a different
Yes.
time. It's all the weird things.
Mm-hmm.
And I brought my ibuprofen and I didn't take it.
Oh no! It's like preemptive measure.
No.
Kind of thing.
No, I got a little ache. Anyway. Okay, so Sugar Kitty's here. Cheers,
course.
Sugar Kitty. Taste and sensibility. Hi, Doug.
What's up, Doug?
T. Rob says, cheers, Michelle and Adriana. Looking forward to a great stream.
It's gonna be fun.
William Davilar is here. I
Go
bet I know
figure.
who else is
I
here.
wonder who's hanging out with William Davilar. Yeah.
And T. Rob's here saying cheers
T-Rob.
to my husband, but not to us.
Oh, apparently.
Oh,
See how it is?
well, there you go.
Whatever you hear. Oh no, he already did say hi.
Oh, did he?
So,
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry, T. Rob.
Just kidding, we love you.
Oh, my
Jiggy.
God.
There's Nick.
We've
out
had,
there.
I mean, they just came in last night and we've
Yep.
just had such a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had so much fun last night. We went out for tacos and then to a
Tacos.
cigar bar
To a cigar bar.
where I had whiskey and not a cigar.
Yeah. She didn't have a cigar.
Yeah. But I discovered that there's Mormon cigars.
Yeah, there's
Made by
Mormon
these
cigars.
Mormons made in Salt Lake City. And I'm like, okay, Nick needs to buy those.
Yeah, for sure.
That's freaking genius. I love it.
What did you end up pouring for your pour outside of the cocktail?
So I have right now some Four Roses poured that I poured a while ago. And then I've got an Knob Creek at the ready.
Hey,
no,
Murphy.
Come on.
He is very jealous that she's in that
Murphy's
seat.
upset. He's not
I'll
having
put
it.
you out. Put you out.
What's up, Clint? Good afternoon.
Hey, Sean Peak is here.
Hello.
John Cloud.
Just did a Mrs. Doubtfire thing. Hello.
John Cloud is here.
Sorry for the squeaky chairs.
I know they are. They're leathery squeaky.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It's funny because I tend to move around a lot. And so I'm like, oh, I'm squeaking.
That's all right.
So,
You guys don't mind, right? Squeakiness.
sorry, headphone users.
So we're doing a cocktail
Yep.
and a crime
Yep.
and the stuff.
We're doing all the things.
I'm so excited. I'm so glad we're not split screen. I'm just so excited.
Yeah, right. Like for what it was funny because I was like looking through the backgrounds to make sure the background was set up right. And I was about to click the one for me and you. And I'm like, oh, where's that now? We don't need
Mhm.
that one today.
I know I moved it up because I knew that there was a good chance
Yeah.
that, yeah.
I was
So,
like,
and the great part is we did our disclaimer at the beginning, so I don't have to like read through it
right?
and all the
Like,
things.
boom, taken care of.
All right. Did
Yes,
any of
please.
you guys get ingredients ahead of time to make the cocktail with us?
Any chance? This one, well, the Luxardo Liqueur is a weird one.
That was a weird one.
Yeah,
And
that one
you
is
have
so
to
weird.
buy a bottle. Okay.
Yeah, the bottle's ridiculous.
So this is the bottle
So
of the.
expect future cocktails involving this.
Yeah, that's a lot of liqueur.
Yeah.
I'm like, do you have a Smalley?
Yeah, it's like, yeah, you got baby. Who's using this much Luxardo Liqueur? Oh, maybe we're missing out. Who knows?
But they're like, you want this cocktail? There you go.
Yeah.
That'll be $35.
For the one ingredient. You're welcome.
Okay. Hey, MC says in for the party.
yeah.
Yay.
What's up, NC?
So as usual with our criminals and cocktails, we don't do the mystery box, but we do Patreon Plinko
Yes.
at the end of the stream.
Yes.
Also, if you're a patron hangout, we are doing a live stream for patrons afterwards.
Yes.
Can't have her here in Idaho and not.
Right?
Do
And have a
that.
little hangout kind of thing. So get in on that. All the fun page. Did you see Des? The little late, but she just made the cocktail.
Nice. Yay. I love
Food.
that so much.
Got it.
Okay.
Well, let's do the same thing.
Yeah, let's make it.
Yeah.
Okay, I got my shaker full of ice.
Sweet. Perfect.
And you picked out the rye. What'd you get here? Pikesville?
Yes.
Okay. We have some Pikesville. Richie Z.
Oh,
Hello.
I didn't see
How
you.
are
Put
you?
the, did you put the...
No.
Oh, okay. I saw it on Patreon, so I was like,
I
oh,
did
that's
not.
over here.
I didn't do the overlay.
Oh, well.
Oh,
We're
well.
going to make a little checklist later.
We will.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've
That's
ever
what I was
done
thinking
that,
about.
but I really should.
Right, I was like, we need a checklist.
No, I mean, I don't think I've
Logistics
ever
into-
shown the overlay, have I?
I think so.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I guess
We don't know. It's our first time. So,
We're getting
but
this
it
down.
is The recipe is in the description and it's posted on Patreon.
Diz loves my ponytail.
It is cute.
Thank you.
It's super cute.
Okay, so we're doing
2 ounces.
2 ounces, so 4 for us because
Right,
we're
yeah,
making 2
yeah.
drinks.
Yep.
Or we're just lushes. What are the 2?
Yeah, I'm just making a strong one. It's like whenever I make a whiskey sour, because I do use an egg white. Technically, you're supposed to use half an egg white. And like nobody can cut an egg white in half, so I just always make a double, which does mean 4 ounces of whiskey.
I just always make a double.
You know, it's delicious. It's not my fault.
Okay, so we got our Pikesville
Sweet.
In there.
4 ounces Pikesville or just whatever rye. And then normally 3/4 ounce of Luxardo Liqueur. So for a double, it's gonna be 1.5.
Oh my goodness, this thing is monstrous.
The
Okay.
monstrous Luxardo Liqueur.
Sugar Kitty, how are you, by the way? How are you doing?
This one is.
Woo! So we're doing
Nice.
1.5 ounces.
Yep, I'm just going back to the updated
I don't
recipe.
have my glasses on me. You know what I
That's
did?
3/4 ounce now.
Yeah, you know what I did?
Hmm.
I need to put more rye in. I did 2 ounces of rye instead of 4 for the 2 of us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now we know.
So we need 1.
So that goes to 1.5.
No, that's
Oops.
1, isn't it? I don't have my glasses on. What's that say?
1.5.
Oh, now I'm really
That is a
fucked up.
weird jigger.
That is a weird trigger. Okay, so starting over in my brain.
So you poured 3 ounces then earlier instead of 4 ounces because you did 2 of these.
Yes, so I did 3
so
ounces.
We need 1 more ounce of rye.
And I've
then...
got too much of this, huh?
No, you've got exactly how
exactly
much.
the amount.
We're
Math.
figured it out. We're figuring it out.
Oh, shit.
Whoop.
Nothing to see here, buddy.
And a little bit
Nothing
less.
to see here. Okay, now I'm going to add more rye in.
That's a weird jigger. In fairness. So use the other side and it should be 1 ounce for the rye. I'm assuming.
I just assumed that was a 2 ounce sugar.
Right.
Weird. Okay.
Go figure.
Next time I'm just going to, so the shaker, I love it because it doesn't get stuck.
Yeah.
And it has a jigger on the top.
I assumed that's what you were using.
I was not using that.
We're figuring it out. Yeah. It's all good.
I should really wear glasses.
That one is
1 ounce is that line underneath, right?
Yeah, it's like the
Don't follow us making a cocktail,
That
guys.
right
We
there.
don't know. All right. Hey, Malib's here. Cheers. I brought all the ingredients today.
Oh, thank you. The huge bottle of liqueur.
Yay. I'm so glad. Let's make this.
I'm definitely gonna look into like other recipes with that.
They have, but I will say, guys, if you are watching us make this and you're like, that's not how you make a Kentucky Flyer, there was like 3 or 4 versions.
That's
of
actually
it.
why, like on here, I have one, and then when I went back and looked, I realized you had this one, and I was like, oh, this is what we based it off of. So let me put this in, and that's what's in the
Because one
description.
had like mint.
Yeah, that's what I
and-
had, and I'm like, that's weird, but I'm not gonna bring it up.
Um,
And then again, 3/4 ounce of lemon juice, and because we're making a double, 1.5 ounces, so a full thing of this of lemon juice for a double.
you know what I did? Because I fresh squeezed
Look
it.
at this.
It's
Look at this.
pre-measured.
What is it? The mise en place, the French thing, the like chef thing of like having all the ingredients are like in your little
Oh.
bowls, and it's like everything in place. I'm just not. Good
I
with
do that
French.
sometimes when I'm
Yeah.
doing criminals and cocktails.
Yeah.
And part of that is I'm not bringing a bunch of lemons out here.
Right.
All right.
Having to sit here and squeeze.
So that should do it. Oh, we got our bitters, right?
Sweet. And then
Orange
4
bitters.
dashes of orange bitters. So 8 dashes. Maybe we should start with 6 to.
Oh, yeah. I think that's going to be a lot. Let's just
Right.
do 6 for the double.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll do
double
that,
that.
and then we can be like, oh, it could have taken that extra dash, or
Okay. So
that
we
kid
do
was just
our.
too much.
What?
I'm so bad. I don't understand the
don't-
dashing thing.
don't
I'm so
either.
bad at that.
Don't watch me, guys. It's
It's
embarrassing.
such a like inaccurate measurement. Why can't we just measure this the same way we measure?
There might be like 10 in there. I don't know.
It's like whatever. Can't we just use teaspoons?
Oh,
I put extra bitters because I love bitters. That's my thing. It's like
I don't really know.
my
how many
thing
bitters
is
are in
one of
there.
my bitters things at home is broken, and so you go to dash it and it just pours, and I always forget which one. And then, so you would love mine, Dad, because they're all the bitters.
I think you should probably at that point test it in the sink first.
Yeah, I should, but
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. I had to buy orange bitters too. I never know how much a dash is. Mm-hmm.
I feel like different bitters though can be like really delicious. So
Livewire Whiskey's here says, so tonight we learn how much Michelle and Adriana have learned about hiding our bodies.
right? Yeah, with pigs.
with pigs. I live in Idaho. It's not far-fetched.
It's not that hard. So yeah.
All right. Do you want to mute me so I don't take everybody out?
Yes. Let me. Boop. That's what you want. Where it's almost too cold to touch.
When it's burning your hands, you know it's ready.
Right?
Holy crapola.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Tracy says, howdy.
I love you, Jersey, my Jersey girl. Oh, but you're gonna make Murph jealous.
Here we go. We're gonna put this in our coupe glasses.
Look at these. Brought to you by women. Oh, it's not gonna focus because we can see your eyes.
I thought mine didn't do that.
I think it does.
Yeah.
My cat can't. I was about to call him Lupin because my cat's always the one who's
jumping up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lupin. No.
Yours.
Yeah.
Make sure it's
Feels like hard to tell how much to do. Ooh. It looks just like the picture. So
it does.
I feel like we nailed it.
Okay.
Right.
And then.
Oh yeah, we need our cherries.
And some of them said a lemon.
There we go.
Not a lemon, but a
lemon peel.
Yeah.
Twist.
Oh,
Whatever.
look at that.
A little seed.
Little lemon seed there. Okay.
Lemon seed.
Oh, yours fell in.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm not good at garnishes, so
Me
even
either,
just
fine.
holding it, I'm not good at it.
And
There we
then just like that.
I think so.
And just like that.
Gorgeous.
And Kentucky Flyer.
Kentucky Flyer.
Cheers.
Oh, that's pretty good. I like it. You don't like it? Is it the Luxardo?
I don't know. Okay, let's try again.
Bit of a bitterness to it.
It's got something. Dad says last time I was an old lady doing cross stitch while watching y'all. Now I'm a child because I'm coloring and watching.
We need like a true crime coloring one.
Oh my god.
That's actually probably a terrible idea. Like what you would be colored. Maybe not. Never mind. Nix that idea. Is it growing on your? I love all the citrus. Like for me, it's a huge bunch of citrus.
I think it's the Luxardo Liqueur. I don't care for it.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of Luxardo cherries to begin with.
Yeah.
And they seem medicine-y to me.
Yeah.
So I love citrus drinks. Absolutely love citrus drinks. This one, I'm okay. I'm okay without it, I think. You like it?
I do like it. I agree. Like I'm not a big Luxardo cherry person. Somebody who is would love it. But like there's so much citrus in it that I just maybe with the orange bitters too because of that. Like it's just it's really satisfying my like crave for fruit.
Well,
who needs to eat fruit when you can drink fruit?
Oh, there's that.
With alcohol.
I don't know. I just feel like
Wait, when did I say that, Mom?
No, I'm not liking it. I'm gonna skip it.
Luckily we have a whiskey back.
Luckily we have whiskey. Okay.
Goodness.
Bourbon Neophytes here. Hello, Anthony. Des, I have chocolate
thank
bitters. Okay, yeah, try your chocolate
Mm.
bitters.
With this?
Yeah, you said rye is good.
When did I say rye is good?
Your drink, you like the cocktail.
Oh, so as I said on the Patreon comments too, I think Michael has called me out. Rye belongs in a cocktail. That's where it should be, and it should never be drank outside of a cocktail. It's like vodka or tequila or pretty much everything but good whiskey.
That's not rye.
That's not rye. That's why I said good whiskey. Like rye, and like even before I got into whiskey, I was buying Knob Creek rye. That would be like my special treat during grad school was to buy some Knob Creek rye for whiskey sours.
See, I learned something new today. I did not know that.
It has its place, and it needs to learn its place and stay in its place.
I was because I was like surprised you weren't like going, oh, how come most of the cocktails have rye in them? Oh. Okay, so we have Richie's one and done cocktail. Yep, for sure. Okay. What's this you say? Rye is amazing all the time.
When it's covered in lemon juice, simple syrup, and egg white. Yeah, totally agree. AKA whiskey sour.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, what do you think? So tonight, we're going to talk about the pig farmer killer.
Yeah.
Pig
Pig
farmer killer. Pig farmer killer.
Yeah.
So
Pickton.
Robert Pickton was an odd fella,
Mm-hmm.
and he hung out with some odd people. I want to say, I don't have his age on here. Okay, but look, so like
when he was doing the crimes.
he originally was like,
40s.
okay, they were like, we have enough to accuse you of 26 murders.
Yeah.
And later he was like, there was like 49.
Yeah. Yeah. He was
And
like
I'm
bummed he didn't get to 50.
Which is really weird because he never really admitted anything. So
yeah.
It's interesting. But he is one of the most prolific serial killers. Because he would go pick up street workers or sex workers. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
And bring them back to his pig farm.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to go to a pig farm?
Who doesn't? I mean,
let's go to a pig farm.
Like, what a line.
Which is probably why he had drug addicts and people that were like, I mean, not that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the most vulnerable.
The ones that are already feeling insecure and.
Yeah, they had a word for this type of, it was like survival sex worker, where they're like doing it literally because they're so hooked to drugs that like they have no choice. And a lot of them was coming from really bad backgrounds. So if y'all are more used to, some of our older episodes, we did more, in the other previous ones, it was more like where we split the case kind of thing and we're both presenting it. But we're kind of switching to one of us has done most of the stuff for, that particular case and is mostly presenting to the other. So she's like familiar with some.
I just know like the outline of it, like enough to where I put it up in Patreon.
Yeah.
But she dug in deep and I'm going to be hearing a lot of this for the first time.
Yeah. So I'm going to set the scene for everybody.
Okay.
So February 1995. Okay. Right in the middle of the 90s. I need to start looking up like what was like the big song that year kind of thing. I feel like that always does like a nice way of like, right?
Yeah.
I love that kind of context. It's like, oh, okay. That all of a sudden puts me to like, I was wearing this and jamming out to that in this car or whatever kind of thing. So what's up, Corner Whiskey?
Cheers.
So it's February 1995. We're in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. So up north, it's cold. And
so this is all Canadian, right?
Yeah, this is a
so it's a
pig
farm in Canada.
Yeah. So, and this guy he's a hand carver and wood carver kind of thing.
Hand carver,
handyman, and wood carver. Handyman and wood
he
carver.
carves hands. No wonder. No wonder we ended up here.
He saw this thing and was like, oh, I'm gonna carve this. He's like has like his little stand on the side of the road. And he, where he sells like birdhouses and things that he makes.
Okay.
And so he was like, I'm going to go just like refill my water bottle down at the river.
Yeah.
And when he goes down there, he sees like this little brown bowl.
A brown bowl?
Yeah. Like what he thought was a little brown bowl, like sitting up on a rock kind of thing. Like it had washed up. And he's like, did somebody leave this here while they're having lunch? And he's like, but it's kind of weird shaped. So he goes and takes a closer look at it and kind of like pokes it with his water bottle and realizes it's a human skull. But it's also like,
how did you confuse a skull with a bowl?
Because it was weirdly cut vertically. It had been cut vertically. So you're imagining like a skull. And of course, like the jawbone is gone because it's been cut. So there's nothing to hold it there. So it's like this part of your skull and laying on its side. So he just sees like this thing covered in nonsense from being in the river or whatever. And he sees this and he's like, oh, so that's a human skull. What I love about this dude is he's like, should I report this to the cops? And he's like, let me go run my errands first and then play bingo. Very important. And then tomorrow, he finally got around like sometime in the afternoon to be like, oh, I should call the cops about that like weird cut in half skull that I found.
So if we would have won bingo, would he have like gone out and done something fun and
and then
called the cops?
Just like forgotten about it completely. I love it. Like you do you, buddy. So they found, the cops came, took it. The forensic pathologist looked at it and was like, this is definitely a human skull. It seems to be like of a young woman who died between like a year to 2 years ago. Like maybe initially people were thinking, like the cops were, first cops were thinking that maybe it came from like a flooded old Indian burial ground or whatever. But the forensic pathologist was like, I don't think this woman died of normal causes or anything based on the cutting of the skull, and like that it looked like it was done like somewhat professionally, not quite by like a medical professional, but it was purposeful. It's not like, oh, this accidentally happened because it dropped and cracked in half or something.
Oh, I see. So it
Like,
wasn't
it
someone
was cut.
skilled, but they did it on purpose.
Right.
Got it.
Yeah. So, but not particularly skilled. So, and they really put a lot of effort into trying to identify that skull and everything, and it was just Jane Doe. So found this weird vertical cut in half skull. Gonna come back up way later, but I think it's neat.
Do you think it's neat? She thinks
Like,
it's neat.
I think it's a neat little
Blink twice, Nick.
yeah, you know, or weird decorations at home. So 2 years later, in 1997, Wendy, and I'm just gonna call her Wendy, was a sex worker in Vancouver, and she's picked up by this dude, and and he actually offered her twice her normal rate, sort of thing, to go all the way, like, I guess
to go all the way,
like going all the way to the pig farm instead of like at a local.
Oh, hey, I don't want to go down to the hour by hour hotel.
Right.
I'll pay you double if you go to the pig farm.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
And she was like, okay, fine. That's a good deal, even though like he smells terrible. So she does.
Didn't say that.
Yeah. Everybody constantly comments about how much this man smells, kind of thing. Like, I'll get that.
Oh, okay.
So she gets there, and she even like, I imagine like living that sort of lifestyle, due to the terrible circumstances and being in poverty. It's not like she's expecting like a crisp, clean environment, but even her, she was like, this place was a gross mess kind of deal.
So like the pig farm kind of made its way into where they like.
Yeah. It's like everything inside the house was just as bad as outside the house, sort of deal.
It's like, I want more money, please.
Yeah, right. So they do their thing or whatever. They're done. And she's like looking at the phone. She wants to call somebody. And he like grabs her hand and starts like caressing it. And then suddenly puts a handcuff on it. And then he's like attacking her. But she's immediately, as soon as that handcuff goes on, she realizes things have gone south. She is fighting back, it's kicking, punching, everything. And she had seen a knife in the kitchen on her way in. So she goes, finds that knife, stabs him. But then with all the blood and stuff, it falls. He stabs her like in the chest and in the stomach. So but then he falls down because he's been wounded from all of her attack.
Oh my God.
So now she's bloody. And it's the middle of the night. She's running
on
up
a pig
to
farm.
the street, from a pig farm. So it's not exactly like downtown or whatever. I'm not sure which environment I would be less shocked about, like suddenly somebody running up to my car covered in blood and clearly wounded. But
holding a kitchen knife.
Holding a knife. Yeah, she was still holding the knife at this point. Like she got it back. So, but luckily for her, this couple was coming by in a car and actually agreed to let her in and wasn't totally scared off, which, like, in fairness,
I mean, I don't know what I would do.
It would be pretty hard, especially with her still holding the knife. But
I feel like, especially like if I had my kids or something with me, absolutely not.
I know. Yeah.
But if it was like a dark road, no. But if it's like, I don't know, part of the, I don't know what I would do.
Yeah, it's like, so, but they take her to the hospital and she's being treated and still has this handcuff on her wrist. And while she's there, the nurses realize, hey, we have this other guy here at the hospital, also with stab wounds, who says that it was from some hitchhiker.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Turns out Robert Pickton is also gone to the same hospital
as
to
Wendy.
Get his stab wounds taken care of, but claimed like, I picked up this hitchhiker and she went nuts and attacked me. But then they found the handcuff key in his pocket. And it turns out it unlocks the handcuff on this other patient of theirs who's telling a very different story.
I wonder if it was the doctors or the cops that said, here's a key. Let's go see if it fits the handcuffs.
The couple of things that really went into the details on the story that I saw said it was like the people working at the hospital, and they hadn't called the cops yet. That was like when they were like,
do you think that would fly in America? I wonder if that would work in, because people would be like unlawful like search and seizure or whatever.
Yeah, who knows?
I don't know either, but I love that. I love it very much. Like, hey,
right?
can't you put a handcuff on?
Also, imagine being that nurse. Like, if you're a nurse and you're like, this is weird. Let me just try it, and it works, and you're like, it's like, oh, that would be terrifying.
Be terrifying.
So, like, within 4 days, they have arrested and charged Robert Pickton, but they end up actually dropping these charges because this poor woman is on so many drugs, and they say that she's just too unreliable of a witness, and she's just not in any state to go to trial. That is
okay. Wait,
how they term it.
So they wouldn't charge him because she was a sex worker or because she was a drug addict?
They said that it was more to do with like her drug use. And I'm like, but it seems like there's so much other evidence. And,
like the thing in his pocket.
Right. You know, like all the evidence, like the people who picked her up from that area, you know, like if they'd gone back to the farm, like I don't know how it works, especially for Canada law or whatever, but it seems like you'd have enough evidence with that to
they're like
without her needing to actually testify, but maybe without that, like it allows enough holes to be
maybe you just smelled too bad. They're like, no, you stink.
Like, we don't want to keep you here. Okay. Forget about it. So that was 1997. And so those charges get dropped and he doesn't get in trouble for that. And
so 1997, he did this.
Yeah.
She got away.
Yeah.
And they won't charge him.
Right. Okay. So now
Peter White
just has a charge there.
Richie Z is drinking Elijah 18.
Oh,
I like it.
Yes, babe. That's what I should. Do you have that over here?
I think it's out in the other bar.
Okay. Yeah. That was the thing. There's so many. All the whiskey is everywhere, y'all.
Everywhere.
You have to go dig it.
We're starting the cigar whiskey bar next week. It'll get better.
It's gonna be us. I like this drink. I'm actually.
You want mine?
It's like growing on me. I might have yours. And then the story will be impossible to tell. It'll go real smooth. So, having now introduced, Having now introduced our buddy Robert Pickton. By this time, spoiler alert, 8 women had already been killed, and we know that 18 more will be killed after this.
At this point in time.
Right, as of 1997, as of this lack of movement on the attempted murder. So, and the area was Vancouver's downtown Eastside, which is kind of like, if you're familiar with like Skid Row, being known as like this very, very poor, high drug use area sort of thing. It's basically Canada's version of Skid Row.
Oh, okay.
From like all the context. It's like kind of the highest drug use in Canada, very poor area and everything. So, and then there's like this area called the low track, and that's where a lot of these sex workers are walking.
On the what? The
low track.
Okay.
Is like that kind of area that all these sex workers are working. So Robert William Pickton was born in 1949 in Port Coquitlam, which is near Vancouver. It's kind of the country area near Vancouver. And his family had I actually know way too much about his background because I started reading this book and it was mostly about that. But in summary, the family had a pig farm. They actually had like a smaller one, and then they moved into like an even bigger one.
Oh, I think we have a picture of the pig farm.
Oh, yes. Perfect. Yes. This will be the one that like he ended up with.
Okay.
Because once his parents died, he actually, him and his brother and sister inherited the farm.
Okay, so here's an aerial view of it.
Here we go. It is
that looks gross.
That actually almost makes it look better than it actually is. Like that's how. Like,
okay,
and I'm not saying that doesn't even look great. This.
You can't really see it. That tells like everything. Yeah. That place was.
Yeah, like nothing was built well by any. Like a lot of it they built with just junk, pieces that they could or whatever.
I mean. You got like an old semi trailer back there.
Yeah. Oh, there's junk like everywhere. That was a bit. So
where's the pigs?
Well, what happened? It used to be like a full-time pig farm, and it had a ton of land. And then after, so he grew up. His mom was kind of the leader. Like the dad was 16 years old. He was super abusive, but as the dad got older, the mom became like she was the one in charge of everything.
Okay.
Just a little visual of the mother from all the descriptions. No teeth. Most of the teeth had just rotted out, and a goatee and a bit of a mustache. Like a
mom had a goatee.
Like you could see the mustache from a ways, but the goatee was like the thing. Like all the friends and people like all remarked on. But she was very demanding, worked the kids hard, and also did not really care that much about hygiene. So they didn't have a shower there. So the kids would take like a bath maybe once a week. Robert Pickton actually really didn't like showering. He like had a thing about showers, sort of deal.
Wow.
And so they were slopping the pigs, which means feeding the pigs this slop like multiple times. And sometimes they'd come home from school like during lunchtime to go slop the pigs and then come back. And like a pig farm can have like a very strong smell. The pigs were allowed to go through all the buildings, even like the main house kind of thing.
Pigs in the house.
So, and I did put a thing in defense of pig farmers. This is not to imply that like all pig farmers are gross, or I think like I kind of hate calling him the pig farmer killer because it gives like this, because like pigs and pig farmers are all like gross people. It's like that's not the situation. Yeah. And I even like posted a link of like this great website I found where it's like what I wish people knew about pig farming and like actually how well it can be done. And it's not necessarily this thing, but for his family, it very much was. So, but they used to be like over 700 pigs and a few hundred chickens kind of thing. And then over time, it kind of transitioned away. And they had all these meat lockers because for a while they were like
meat lockers.
Yes, they were doing all this meat distribution kind of thing. But once the parents died, the one sister had moved away in like 8th grade. The brother was doing like construction and topsoil work or whatever. So they weren't like so focused on pig farming. So now it was more like he would go to auctions and get pigs to order for people. So he was still slaughtering and doing things with pigs and also like whatever animals people wanted. But it wasn't like large scale.
So he would buy pigs, bring them home and slaughter them at the pig farm.
Yeah. Sometimes they'd linger around for a bit maybe, but it was mostly like by order kind of thing. Almost like placing an order to your butcher, but like on a somewhat larger scale kind of thing. And then he would also like buy junk cars and scrap them and sell the parts and whatever kind of thing. But really, he didn't actually need money because what they started doing was just selling lots of the land. And they were making like the equivalent today of like millions. Like it was hundreds of thousands of dollars that each of them was getting kind of deal. So he was like known to just go downtown to the low track and he was just, pulling out wads of cash and buying women this, that, and the other, whatever kind of thing. So, but again, all the comments were like, I mean, he stank really bad. I'm like, never bathed. You could see the dirt. He wasn't
so a stinky guy
wearing the same outfit day after day that he's out there taking care of the pigs in and everything, and then going downtown and hanging out at the bar.
Yeah. So a stinky guy hanging out down in the lower end of town, picking up sex workers for his pig farm. Well, I guess nothing could go wrong with that.
Sexy, sexy, sexy.
They're like money, money,
right?
money.
So, and to give some kind of like as a kid, it's not like he had like all the red flags that a lot of serial killers do, like where they're, abusive towards animals or whatever. Like obviously he grew up on a pig farm, so he was used to the concept of slaughter.
Yeah.
But like he tells a story about when he was 12, he saved up for a calf and he like loved that calf and he was going to have that calf for the rest of his life. And then one day he couldn't find it and it was missing and he was really upset. And then his dad's like, why don't you go check the barn? Maybe it's in there. And his dad had butchered it and it was hanging up kind of thing. And he was like really upset and wouldn't talk to his family for days or whatever. So it's like, he didn't, he
had some kind of like compassion. Okay.
Yeah. And he and his brother were like very much bullied.
Which makes it even worse because it's like, so you know now that he has emotions and he's capable of feeling.
Right. Like at some point he was more compassionate and maybe capable of caring about others. And he used to be like bullied a lot because of, like he lived in an area where most of the other kids were doctors' kids. There's like some mental hospitals there. So it's like everybody else is like a rich doctor's kid. Yeah. And then him and his brother are going to school smelling like the pig farm constantly. So
he's an adult now?
So now, yeah. So then his parents died. They started selling off stuff. It wasn't as intense. Like his brother had been married, had like a girlfriend who had little sisters. And I thought like as soon as I started to read this part, I was like, oh shit. Like they're going to be telling stories about like how awful or something awful. And they're like, like all I remember was like how wonderful it was at the pig farm, and we loved going there.
Oh my god!
And like Uncle Willie, because he went by Willie,
Uncle Willie
would like take us out and show us the baby pigs and let us play with the baby pigs and ride horses, and like they loved it.
That's great.
I was like really
Meanwhile,
scared of how that was gonna go. So I'm like, it's not all the like initial, which is always like kind of what it just means. Like, oh, what are the red flags earlier on? Like,
was it a serial killer made or serial
right?
serial
Like,
killer
what makes a
became,
person
yeah
go in, do
For
the
sure.
sort of deal? And it just doesn't really make sense with this dude. So that's our buddy Willie Pickton. By buddy, I mean awful piece.
So did he go by Willie?
Yeah, apparently he went by Willie.
That's
I keep calling him
I
Robert
could say
Pickton.
so many things about that.
Yeah, little Willie.
I mean,
what?
I don't know. Anyway, sorry. Moving along.
Also, if you're a Patreon, don't forget Patreon Plinko.
Oh, look at that. Richie Z just dropped
Richie Z.
Great minds. We
Moving
are
back.
doing our Patreon live stream after this. We're gonna do it pub style. Come hang out. But we will do Plinko at the end.
I'll have had 2 Kentucky Flyers by then and some whiskey.
Yeah,
so
she'll be fun.
it'll be good. Okay, so back into the 90s. Now all this nonsense has gone on. And he's going downtown and hanging out and being a baller, a really gross, smelly baller. Meanwhile,
Stinky Willie.
more and more women are going missing per year, kind of thing.
Oh yeah, because right now there's already people that we
Yeah.
know of. Okay.
Yeah, so more of these women, mostly Indigenous women. Malam, of course, it's time for another cocktail, obviously. Many of these women are going missing, and they tend to be from these vulnerable, populations, these drug users and sex workers. But they are being reported missing. It might take longer, but they are actually being reported missing. And sometimes people go missing, and it's like they're so transient that they act like that's kind of the Gacy case. Is a lot of
it was harder to track.
Right.
But I mean, a lot of times also they're like, I know my daughter's on drugs. I know she's down there doing things she shouldn't be doing.
But this is
it's been a week now
of time
where
that's exactly the story you hear over and over. It's like, yes, she was in this situation, but normally this person would have heard and seen her and whatever kind of thing. So yes. So, more and more women are being reported missing. And love you, MC. And so this one guy at Vancouver Police Department, Kim Rossmo, is like one of the first actual geographical profilers. So you probably heard like behavioral profiler.
Yeah.
But this is a geographical profiler where basically he kind of studies the area and like kind of the rates of, different crimes or whatever in an area, and kind of uses all of that in other aspects of the area to like figure out if something's going on in an area and like help pinpoint where, maybe a serial killer could be based on the radius of the crimes or all that kind of nonsense. So what's up, Chris? You see, right? Finally, I get to be at the new house.
I know. So much fun.
So he's like looking, I'm looking at the numbers, and I'm looking at the
cop
numbers
that
from
came in
previous
to
times.
investigate.
Well,
this.
he was actually
he was out there.
Yeah, so he worked in Vancouver Police Department, and is somebody who's like visits other, including within the United States and other countries, is invited and asked for advice because he's like the expert at this time on this type of profiling. So it's like you've got the expert in your own police department, and he's like, yo, I'm seeing something here, and I think we have a problem. And they're like, no, we don't. No, we don't. No, we don't. We do not have a serial killer. Don't say serial killer. That causes all kinds of problems.
Don't say that, because then people might get scared.
Yeah. And they said like a lot of the other police, like the lower ranks basically were with him and like, we need to do something. But the higher ups are like, oh, it just causes panic if you say serial killer and causes all these issues and funding and whatever. They let him form a team for a bit, but it's like pretty quickly disbanded.
That sucks.
But he kind of starts putting it out there like, hey, I really think something is going on. We have a bizarre number of missing women in our area. And at one point they got this tip from this guy, Bill Hiscox. But the thing was, he heard it from a friend. Número dos.
I mean,
you know, they get this tip from this guy who's like, look, I've worked on that farm and I have a good friend who's like best friends with them and has sometimes lived there kind of deal.
was that girl that I heard about?
I think it was Lisa. Yeah, the one in the video earlier who was like very much loyal and his buddy. And
lived in the filthy house.
Yeah,
Got it.
had seen him hire sex workers and then seen different clothes, purses, and IDs. Like I can understand, oh, she loved a jacket there. There's like a woman's clothes. A purse is a little weirder. An ID being left, but like,
oh, so they were finding all these IDs of different.
Yeah, like they'd seen that at the farm. Yeah, like this friend had seen it at the farm and been like, that's weird that there's like women's IDs hanging around kind of thing. And women's possessions when no women live here or whatever. But because this was like a friend of a friend, it was hearsay, they couldn't move forward on that. And the friend refused, like you saw the interview, like she's very, I don't like cops and da-da-da kind of thing. So she was like, I'm not helping them. Which everybody has their different experiences or whatever. But so they couldn't follow forward with that. But they marked it. You know, they've got this.
So now they have the girl that was bloody holding a kitchen knife that got away.
Right.
They have a friend saying, hey, man, I keep finding all these IDs and purses.
Yep.
But they're like, it's not enough.
Yeah, it's still not enough. Like this Rosmo guy got them to do, they did like a 2-week surveillance, but didn't catch him doing anything during that 2 weeks, which really isn't that long of a time.
At least they did surveillance.
Yeah, but they did. You know, and actually one of the clever things that they did was the DNA. They got the clothes from that attempted murder.
Yeah,
took the DNA from it, and they had like some missing bodies from 1995 that they had like perp DNA from. So like the criminals DNA from, and they compared it to those, and they were like, oh, it doesn't match.
It's not the same person.
So they
rolled a new serial killer.
Right. So they're like, oh, well, that can't be, you know, so they ruled him out completely.
Smart.
Which I get, they've got a ton of suspects, and it's like, oh, it doesn't match the little bit of DNA that we do have for these previous bodies that we have.
That's super smart. It's like, well, it could have been that one serial killer that we already got. No, the DNA, it's a different dude.
Like I want to make it clear that like it's not like Vancouver Police Department was totally like, I'm not saying there weren't something, especially because it was Indigenous women. There's like a further investigation later on about that. I'm not getting into it, but like I do think they did, you know, for the most part at least, their due diligence, and they're trying to go through all their suspects. It's not like he's the only one. You know, they've got a long list of names, sort of deal.
All those pig farmers.
Yeah. So, but eventually, that task force is disbanded. But America's Most Wanted actually did a big report on all these missing women in Vancouver, which really got the public riled up and got more funding going. So even though the Vancouver Police Department, and I don't know that this is directly connected, but it like just kind of the timing sort of lines up. Even though the Vancouver's police department disbanded it, the RCMP, the Mounties, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, created their own task force. And so the difference, I looked it up for all my fellow non-Canadians, is you've got your regular police that are like within British Columbia, basically like within your states. And then this is the like federal police kind of thing. I don't know if that's technically the equivalent of FBI. But they have jurisdiction across all of Canada.
Are they on horses? You said mounted
police.
Isn't
it mounted? Like I picture the guys in red, you know.
Is the mounted police like always on horses? Or
sorry, they're probably not always. But I love the idea that they're like riding their horse down the low track and in the
out on
east side of Vancouver, right? In their like red thing. But so they created a task force and really got going. So this was about Christmas time of 2000, and they're the first ones to come out and be like, "There's a serial killer. We have a serial killer on the loose," and announce it to the public and ask the public for help.
The
RCMP, the Mounties. And if that's an offensive term for them, I apologize. Let me know. I won't keep calling them Mounties. I just feel like that's the thing.
Now
I have no idea.
I wonder if they ride horses.
Right? I'm just picturing the ones with the hats. I don't know. Maybe it's a different thing. But so they put it out there. They were like, look, panic, be fucked. Like, we have this is a problem.
This is a problem. Ladies, do your drugs in safe places.
Yeah. And it's like by letting people know they can, if as a sex worker, go in groups kind of thing, walk the streets in groups, which was a thing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Like, yeah. Like walk the streets in groups kind of thing.
You meant like,
no. Yes. 4 of you are watching. But like, and record license plates that like, you ladies are being picked, so like kind of.
Yeah. The buddies like,
make
watch out for your friends.
Right.
Yeah.
That way it's like, oh, there's a witness of who was the last person who picked up, this woman kind of thing. So that's sort of thing. And also like, report to us if you have. And one thing I thought was cool was they actually, the Mounties, sorry if that's wrong, reached out to the Seattle police because they had recently captured the Gary Ridgway.
Yeah.
And which was a similar situation of going after sex workers and everything.
Yeah. And if you guys if you don't know who that is, Gary Ridgway, we go back and watch our previous Criminals and Cocktails because they're very similar, right?
Yeah. They have like a lot of similarities.
But not.
Right. Yeah. But so they went to them and were like, hey, do you have any advice for finding this type of predator kind of thing? And so they gave him some great advice of like, get into that community, get involved, get embedded, get there, find out who is known to be like this bad guys in that community or whatever,
and stay clear
and start, like you start to get to know and then they get to know you and trust you and really give you the inside scoop. Isn't that terrifying?
Yeah, that's crazy numbers right there.
Yeah.
Clowns, like serial killer clowns. I don't know. Yeah. That's
I love that I think it's because I'm sitting more forward and she's like leaned back with Murphy on
I just saw that. Quick question. Was that
yeah.
So if I sit forward.
Yeah, if I was like this kind of thing. So
I got my Murphy dog on my on my lap.
And I'm all like
he is very upset that Adriana stole his seat.
Yeah.
So
sorry, Murph.
Malam says it's RCMP and they don't always have a horse. Now typically only for ceremonial events. Okay, thank you,
I wonder if it's
Malam.
like they started out as mounted and so that's part of the name, but
good. RCMP.
Malam, do you know if it's okay to call them Mounties or if they are the Mounties? Is that like
or is that like your word?
Is that disrespectful? No, it's like I see it in movies.
Movies never have
this. It's so accurate. Everybody knows you can rely on movie evidence. I will have to know
movies and TikTok.
Anything I state as like for short, at least I got from a couple of sources. They're all cited.
Yeah, they're
not
all
from movies.
And so all of the sources, like I said, guys, we
always do that.
Whenever we do Criminals and Cocktails, we research, but we're putting it into a finite amount of time.
Right.
So if you ever want to dig deep or you want to know if what we said was true or not, we try to put our sources in the description of the video.
Yeah. I always put this way, and I will state
Royal Canadian Mounted Police.
Yeah. He said Mountie is fine. Okay, so I'm gonna keep calling them that. It's shorter than RCMP. And I'll state if anything, I'm like, I'm unclear about this or whatever. Kind of like some things say this, some things say that. So I won't say it unless I believe it's to be actually true. So so now we're hitting 2001. The number of missing women is increasing.
So do we know how many women are missing now, or is it just a shit ton?
So it's like the numbers were kind of all over the place. And when the original group got disbanded, the numbers had gone down. But like so previously, and like this just kind of blew my mind because I just assumed in Vancouver, like it's a pretty large city. That they'd have bigger numbers because I'm used to like I guess American numbers of missing people. They would have like 1 to 0 a year of like missing women that didn't get found by the end of the year.
Right.
And the case didn't get figured out.
Long-term
like either
missing women
found dead and they kind of know why or whatever.
0 to 1.
Yeah. Originally. And then it started going up and they'd have like 4 to 5, 6 to 7 kind of thing. And then when it got disbanded, it was like back down below 5. But then in this one, I don't think I wrote it down.
Counting because they were disbanded.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Just kidding.
They were like, all right, we're good. But I think like by April, there was already like 4 more missing women of like 2001.
That's a lot then. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
right. Sorry. I just kind of was curious.
Yeah. To give some kind of context to it. So, so like, but I don't know, like to me, I was expecting higher numbers, I guess. Like when I
think we're just used to like our crazy country that we live in.
Right. Yeah. I was like, holy crap. Like that's actually like back when I read about like the Gacy case, like the numbers were, but he was Chicago.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of transits going in and out and everything. And so it's very hard for the cops to track them down, even if they are fine and they've just moved along.
Yeah.
So maybe the numbers are just way higher.
I know we're probably like jumping all over, but I have a
Yeah.
question. You or chat.
Yeah.
Isn't Canada where like sex workers are illegal? They have to get checked every year and carry like the card. I think so. I asked chat. Tell me if I'm wrong. They get checked. They have to carry a card that says they've gone through health checks like annually.
Mad
And
respect
so
to Canada.
That would make more sense as to why these women were reported missing. Like it wasn't like here where it's in a back alley and
yeah.
Am I right, guys?
Yeah. But I also wonder if that would be a more recent implementation, if that is a thing, like if that would be more recent than late 90s kind of deal.
I don't think so.
I wonder if it's that Vancouver is maybe not as transient of an area.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't either.
Lots of possibilities.
But I remember hearing that,
corn and whiskey. Yeah, they get tested.
Yeah, because like I graduated in 91, and I remember my friends telling me that, and me going,
"Oh, so it's been like for a while."
Yeah, it's been a minute.
I love that. I think, and I purposely use the word sex workers and not prostitutes because prostitutes does have such a like derogatory, note to it.
Working girl. I don't know.
I don't know that that's much
better.
I
don't really know what you're supposed to say, but
from what I understand nowadays, sex workers is kind of the better term.
So Peter White says selling sexual services is legal in Canada, but buying sexual services is illegal. How does that work?
Basically, though, instead of putting all the blame on the women who are
who need it and want
forced into this and need to be in it, putting the punishment on the people who are making the thing.
We have to do a whole segment on just that.
That would be fun. That would be fun.
Behind the scenes, busting the Johns because they're not.
Right?
Yeah. Oh,
that
we're
would
gonna
be
have to.
fun.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, back to it. So during the RC the Mounties investigation, they had tons of suspects. So they had like a categorization system.
Okay.
And their top priority would be like people who had previous charges and convictions, have spent a lot of time in that area, have property in that area, some other things. So what happens if you say, I'm not buying, only renting? I don't think that'll work, Chris.
Those previous tenants.
And what's his face? Douchebag Pickton.
Pickton. Stinky farmer.
Right? Is like it has been is in that category.
He's in the category.
Like if you look him up in the system, it's going to come up with that flag.
So he's on the radar.
Right.
At least he's on the radar.
He's on the radar, but they have quite the list. Former sex offenders, whatever.
Okay.
So so in 2002, and we're getting to like
get into the nitty gritty.
Getting captured finally.
So now, do we know like
I've only got
if we knew, because I feel like we kind of glossed over it. I don't know, so I'm asking. During this time, because we know he got convicted at one point. During this time, by now, when now they've said we have a serial killer, how many women has he killed at this point?
It's probably. So if we go with the 26 number,
not what he said, but what,
I think it's like 20 of them. It's
so by now
around
he's killed
there.
like 20 people. Okay.
Right. Whereas when the attempted murder charge was stated, he'd killed 8. And so many of these women, 18 of these women were after that.
That's so many.
Yeah, it's horrifying if you really think about it. And in fact, I think you have an image of the. Do you want to put
yeah.
So 2002, we're getting to like finally we're gonna stop this mother effer. Look at me being good. I don't know why. In 2002, they get this tip from Scott Chubb.
Scott Chubb.
I just love that name so much. So I had.
We have Willie.
We got Willie and we got Chubb. So they got Chubb's tip.
Sorry,
they got the tip from Chubb.
They got a tip from Chubb. Make this shit up.
We are going right off the wheels.
See, I give her 2 cocktails.
There they go.
And a couple of bourbons and maybe a mimosa. It's been a day.
Yep. Worked. Oh, so sorry. So he worked on and off. And I will give context. This guy was straight up like, I'm broke and I'm hoping that y'all are giving tips for like money, rewards for tips that like
give
lead
cash.
To, how sometimes it's like, reward for if it leads to an arrest or whatever. And it was actually nothing to do with the women. So
did he get any money?
I don't think so, actually.
like,
I don't know. I don't think so.
They're like, no, you don't get money if you
It's
don't
like,
give us a tip. Sorry.
Here's only the tips, so you know.
All right, moving on.
That
That was it. That was my last one.
right?
That was my last one.
You should get more than the tip, right? So keep in mind, Canada has totally different gun laws than
Right.
us. So like kind of a much higher bar on what you need to do to even own any kind of firearm. And so he reported that he used to be on and off, and that Robert Pickton had illegal guns on his
Illegal guns on his property.
on his
Okay.
property. Yeah. So and like I just want to I never saw the officer's name listed, but I want to give him respect that so he looked this up, and he could have just been like, oh sweet, I can go get a collar for illegal gun possession and move on with my day or whatever.
Oh yeah, just go out there and bust him for the illegal guns.
Right. And get that collar under me and whatever. I mean, I don't obviously totally know how being a police officer works.
I'm sure he'd at least get a kudo. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how that works, but yeah.
And he's not, he's not working. He's working under the like illegal gun firearms,
the task force,
sort of task force or whatever, right? But when he pulls up Robert Pickton, he sees the previous attempted murder charge. He sees the priority 1 categorization. He sees the previous surveillance that they had put on this guy before.
So the Chubbs gives the tip that he had that he had illegal guns.
Yep.
This
officer,
is like, wait a minute.
There's a lot of other things.
Okay, see, this is where I love this.
Right? I'm like, yes, Matt, props to you.
Okay.
So he reached out to the Mounties. So he's like the local VP, Vancouver Police Department. And he reached out to the Mounties and was like, guys, I got this thing. If you want to like come along. So because they got a search warrant for the illegal guns. But kind of using that as a excuse to get like an initial look at the farm,
like the United States,
right? So it's like an initial thing of like, first we're looking for some illegal guns and search warrants can be very specific about what you can touch and what where you can go and whatever. And so they go to look for these illegal guns, and they do find the like a 22 rifle. And I think something else, but for sure,
and it's like really unheard of to have guns in Canada,
right? Yeah, it's like it's not like here,
right?
Because it's funny because I say like they kept saying like he had a 22 rifle and a 22 revolver, and I'm like, that's 22.
And he's like, I worked my ass off for that 22.
I'm like, that ain't nothing. I got a 9mm and a 12 gauge. Like, what are you talking about? A 22? But like, it's totally different context, and he didn't have the appropriate permits and whatever. So, but at the same time, I just want to like set the scene. So you go to this big farm and you're like, I'm looking for legal guns and maybe a little something else. And what was it about Star Trek?
So yes, they're searching there. They probably rolled up and went, that looks like it has illegal guns.
Like, I mean, to be fair, like is it profiling? Maybe. Nick knows that's a quote from a crappy Christmas movie.
Yeah, so
like, so they go, so set the scene. They walk in to this guy's like the main farmhouse, and there is a stuffed horse head on the wall. So like some people got a moose, a bear, he's got a horse head on the wall, and her name was Goldie. It was his childhood. It was his childhood horse. So just like imagine, we love you, Murphy. Years from now, passes away, you decide to stuff his head and put that on the wall.
I mean, someone that works for me just recently, her dog passed away, and her son said, can we stuff him? And she's like, would you want to be stuffed? I said, no.
Yeah.
So, Richie, Michelle and Adriana, is it me or do you both have Star Trek colors?
I love it. Well, which is funny because normally, like, I could see you in, it depends on the Star Trek, but like engineering or like command, like I feel like red normally is with command. Blue is always for the science and medical officers. So like my actual Star Trek uniforms that I own are blue, of course, obviously.
She loves me in spite of the fact that I have no idea what she's talking about.
That's fine. Yeah, whatever.
She loves me anyway. It's okay. Okay, so here we go. Real quick, since we stopped. Canada is actually the 7th most armed country in the world. No way. I thought it was the opposite.
But he had a 22. See, are you all armed with 22s? I'm just saying, people
No
have been shot in the
judgment.
head with a 22 and lived just fine.
But I'll tell you
not
what,
even kidding.
a gun is a gun.
I know, and you can kill it. I'm not saying you can't kill it.
Yeah, Lil, it is a total and
saying.
complete shit pit. Is that what you said?
Shit
Sorry.
show.
And I did see your comment earlier. I was gonna. Oh yeah, she's laughing her ass off.
Love you, love.
Okay. Hi. Anyway, so now
everybody's defending their 22s.
I'm
going after your 22.
Yeah, she's a gun snob. I'm just saying.
Like,
you are sleeping in the room with the gun safe.
Hey, perfect. Yeah, you like warned me, and I'm like, oh.
I know. I'm like, how
That's
come my gun safe's in here? She's like
I sleep with a 9mm next to me. I used to sleep with a 357 Magnum revolver under my pillow. So
Old Man Joe is here.
Oh, yes. Here, Joe.
Okay, corn and whiskey, no 22s here.
Finally, somebody.
Okay.
Only 9mm.
So they're looking for the guns.
They're looking for the guns.
Anything else that might come. And there's a horse head.
And so they see this stuffed horse. And not that that has anything to do with it. I just wanted to set that scene because it just gives you a little more like the personality of the dude.
That is creepy as fuck.
You know, like it's one thing. It's a trophy. You win on a special hunting trip. It's not my thing, but I can understand it more. But like, yeah, no, little weirder. To each their own, except for this douchebag. So they also see women's jewelry, purse, restraints, handcuffs, cable ties, dildos, a collection of kitchen knives on his bedstand.
Okay, wait. Read that list back again.
Yeah, this was all in his bedroom.
It was all in his bedroom.
Yeah, because they found the guns, and so they were able to like continue searching that room.
Okay, I was reading a comment. I totally missed what you said.
And they found some women's jewelry, even though he's not married and no women live on the property.
Okay.
Purses, some pictures, flare gun, restraints.
Flare gun?
Yeah.
Okay.
That had been like adapted to use 12 gauge shells. So restraints. There's also like another weird gun that I'm not talking about.
Okay.
Restraints, handcuffs, cable ties, dildos, and then a collection of kitchen knives on the bedstand.
Okay, that's weird.
I got nothing against a collection of kitchen knives.
I know you don't.
You do you. Like, I'm married to a chef. I'm all for it.
You probably have one on your bedside.
Not a collection. Like a knife, but not a whole collection. The commentary. I love it, Lil.
Okay, so they're finding weird ass shit just in his bedroom.
And then the topper that really gets them the second warrant, so that now they can actually explore this whole 14-acre farm, biggest crime scene in Canadian history, is in this bedroom. They find photo ID belonging to one of these missing women and a victim's inhaler that has her prescription written on it and has her name on it. And she's another one of these listed missing women. So now they've found two different missing women.
Wow. Okay.
So now they can go back.
Jackpot, right?
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like, all thanks to this unnamed cop who was like, hey, y'all, I could just get a thing for illegal guns. But if y'all want to tug along and see if maybe...
Go guy. That guy was
right. I want to know his name. I'm like, I love you. Like, thank you.
Everybody else is like, I don't think that's a good.
Remember we were talking about collaboration earlier?
Yeah,
that's why
collaboration, not competition.
Right. So second warrant, they go into this trailer. It's covered in blood, including the mattress. So much.
There was
blood.
So many trailers. I wonder.
Yeah. This was like one trailer because also they found other mattresses also with blood from other that was like matched back to other.
So he just had a bunch of mattresses.
Oh. Can you imagine what
they smell like?
So,
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I just pictured like they said he smelled bad, and we're thinking, oh, that's so gross.
Yeah.
And pig farmer. I'm picturing him like Murphy does on his back, just rolling.
Just like rolling in the blood.
Sorry, that was so bad.
In the deep.
Oh God.
So like in this one trailer, almost all of the blood belonged to this one woman. A 26-year-old Indigenous woman, Mona Wilson. There's a bunch of other women, and I didn't get into all of their names just for sake of time. But they had physical evidence for these 6 victims here. Mona Wilson's there in the top right.
Left, right?
That lady right there.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to point, but it's not working.
She's looking like
her. That's Mona Wilson.
Yeah.
And this was the lady, the one next to Mona Wilson, Sherry Abawe, was the one that we saw interviews with in that thing. So she had been on a march that the city had done protesting, that all these indigenous and women were going missing.
Yeah.
And nobody was
like,
doing
nobody
anything
cares
about it.
because there's
She was interviewed.
Yeah.
And then she's one of the victims that they directly.
Oh,
and it's really sad. In an
that
interview,
is sad. She's like, nobody cares about these women.
Yeah.
And then she ends up being
and in the interview,
one of
she's
those
like,
women.
"Oh, I've got a sixth sense. Like I could tell if a John was gonna be."
This is one of the parts I did know. This was so sad to me because, and that's why it stuck with me. This cop was interviewing her. I don't know, cop, mounted police, whatever. Was interviewing her because she had just gotten the shit beat out of her by an angry John. And hi, Back in Bourbon. And so she's all, and he's like, "Hey, don't you think it could be unsafe? Aren't you worried about who you're going with all these women disappearing? All these women are disappearing." And she's like, "No, I feel like I would get a sixth sense and I just wouldn't go with them."
Yeah. So it's like, it's just like, and having that like live footage of somebody is
and then ended up at the pig farm. Yeah.
So they did bring him in, arrested him initially just on one charge of murder, and then kind of gradually started.
That's all you need to get it going, right?
Those charges, kind of, and of course, charges for the illegal guns or whatever. Who cares shit about that?
Okay, but wait, now because she did the research.
Yeah.
So I'm going to speak to the unresearched part. So this is for entertainment purposes only. I did not research this. It's only what I've heard, but I got to say this.
Yeah.
Because maybe you came across it. They talked about how he may have taken these bodies, or at least parts of the bodies or whatever, and ground it up and sold it to the public with the pig meat.
Yep.
Did you come across that?
Yep.
Are we going to hear about it?
Yep.
Oh my God. Okay, sorry. I just wanted to know if we were going to hear about that.
Because like earlier, before we did this case, you had mentioned about it and whatever. And I was like, I don't want to say anything about that until like I've seen if there's actually, because like I feel like as soon as there's like a pig farm involved, like the immediate assumption
I thought maybe he fed it to the pigs.
Right. It's like going to be like, oh, he fed it to the pigs, and like, oh, they sell pork, so like went to the people, and it's like, all the rumors are just gonna go out of Sort of young. We love you, Richie. That's what we love. That's not the only reason.
Okay, I was just curious. So sorry. Go ahead.
So it will be a thing. So stick around.
I told you guys. She knows rumor.
Stick around. And y'all make great shit with Chubb's tip. With Chubb's tip.
I remember saying, "Is this the one where the guy made chili?" She's like, I do remember that one too. So,
chili. Oh, there is. Okay. Anyways.
Okay, moving on. Sorry.
Let me tell you about this great human chili recipe. No. So they arrested him, and he wasn't giving anything away, not giving anything away, but he's in a cell like a couple nights later, and he tells his cellmate, who's like supposedly in there for like a murder charge or whatever, and he tells the cellmate.
Have they not learned to quit talking to their cellmates at this point? Like, how many get caught?
Don't you know that they're like people are listening? They're always listening. Like your phone's always listening. Dude
they're wants out on parole. He's gonna make a deal,
right?
Like, or he wants some, I don't know, commissary or
at least an informant. So, he tells them, this guy, that like actually, that they had him on like 26 that they suspected like up to 26. And he's like, actually, the real number is 49. And I was hoping to get to 50, to like a nice round 50, but I got sloppy. That's what he said.
Oh my God.
And they have this. They have video. I didn't watch it because I don't
all the time.
I don't like video footage of these people. Yeah. But you can watch the YouTube video of this jackass eating baked beans and talking about these women.
Yeah, for sure. They like to brag.
Right. Yeah. And it's funny because like later he tries to pretend he's not into all the like publicity, but he's like, "Oh, really? I'm on the front page? Like, really? And he keeps bringing it up, And it's like, "Oh, I was on the front page. Like, where am I now?" Kind of thing. And it's like, "Oh, yeah. Like you do."
Did you see my horse?
Right. Did you see Goldie? She's so pretty. So it turns out his little cellmate buddy was actually an undercover cop. He wasn't actually there on charges for murder, which is what he claimed and everything.
Oh,
which is totally fine, I guess. Like I didn't know that was like so like an entrapment thing. Totally fine, apparently. So
go Canadian.
And he told this guy, it's because the guy's like, "Oh, what'd you do with all the bodies?" And he's like, oh, like I took him to this rendering plant. And a rendering plant is basically like after like you get all the pig meat that you can, then you take like all the other stuff to this rendering plant and they get like whatever fat or oil or whatever they can do.
That's what hot dogs are made of.
Remaining stuff, right? Yeah, you're hot dogs.
Just
unverified information. But like, so it's kind of like just what you do with the rest of it, sort of deal. That's what he told this dude.
Okay, that he took it to the rendering.
Yeah, that it went to a rendering plant. And you know, like many were thinking, like, did he feed the bodies to pigs?
The pigs, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And he said that he did that. He just took him to a rendering. But actually, it comes out later. His buddy Andy,
Andy,
who testified, said that one night they were talking and that he was like, oh, when I bring sex workers home, like, you want to know the truth. And he's like, I don't know, like, okay, like, are you going to tell me your weird kink or whatever? You know,
I don't really want to know that.
Like, I'm not that interested in your weird kink, but
I mean,
okay.
if you really want to tell me.
Like, and the guy's like, yeah, I have this wire and I put them face down and I strangle them. And then that he feeds them to the pigs. And then he takes the rest of it to whatever the pigs don't eat to the rendering plant.
Okay.
And workers at the rendering plant lied. Oh, I was thinking like a very country way of saying Lord, you know, like lad. As bad as Pickton was, Clifford Olson was much worse.
Oh,
He did
Peter,
come up.
Email that to us because we're always looking for different things to look into.
Yeah, he did. Actually, he like popped up in some of my things, like looking into this guy. So
okay, so he did feed them according to him.
According to what he told one friend.
Okay, got it.
Right.
And, you know, it's funny how everybody's their friend and everyone has a story. So
yeah, so it's like take that with a grain of salt. According to one friend, he maybe fed them to the pigs and then took the rest. There were people like workers at the plant, this rendering plant, who said that they saw charred bits of meat in there, which was very unusual.
At the rendering plant, they saw charred meat.
Yeah, because like
cooked meat.
You normally would do like where there's like a barrel and they come once a week or whatever to pick up all the barrels that you want to do. But like back then it was less regulated, and he would often, because he was like, you know, had a pig farm or whatever.
Yeah.
Could also go there and just take stuff there. So it was kind of like a mix of both. So sometimes he was taking stuff there, but they said sometimes they're like going through what's been doing. Oh, what a terrible job. And that they would see these charred pieces of meat, which is very unusual and doesn't really make sense for like what they're normally getting, you know, because it's like you slaughter a pit. At what point
you wouldn't cook it?
Have been right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know. What honestly annoys me the most is they like found all these guns. They think a lot of the women were shot, but he told the one guy strangled. And I'm just like, I don't even understand. Like, what was his MO? Like, did he shoot people?
Well,
or did he
probably just had a bunch of guns. It probably had nothing to do with the women, honestly.
Yeah, but they say that some were shot, and I wasn't able to get like
just out shooting shit.
But I couldn't see if like they got any, you know, bits of bone left which we're about to get to. Here's the really crazy part. Like for me, honestly, beyond the whole pig.
She's like, oh, that wasn't crazy. This is crazy.
You thought feeding to the pigs was nuts.
Okay.
So found blood and hair of some of these victims. So we now have like direct evidence to certain victims that were able to actually DNA match to those victims. You know, and then possessions of others, which is like a little looser of a piece of evidence.
Okay.
Like, oh, you have a matching, you know, ring, or the purse matches or whatever. But it's like, oh, well, technically she could have left the purse there. But like photo ID seems a lot less likely. And then blood and hair, pretty sure she just died there. They found bones and everything. Remember that vertically?
Oh, the skull that was cut.
Vertically cut.
What the hell is that?
Right? So remember how I mentioned that the family used to have like a much bigger operation? And I'm like giving myself goosebumps because this part was crazy. The family had a much bigger operation.
Yeah.
This was 14 acres of land. There are pits that have been dug into this land to bury cars and stuff and whatever. So like the research for this, of course I will, is like the investigation into the land, the crime scene investigation takes 18 months kind of thing, because it's so much to actually it's truly thoroughly go, because it's so much land.
Yeah, because
it's the pits and the different barns and whatever kind of deal.
Yeah, I mean, imagine having to
Right,
sift through
all of
that,
this.
and that's not even counting
Yeah.
the land around it.
Right. There's definitely pits like
Like,
behind those
I don't know
areas
if
and
you have a
stuff.
big screen and you're looking, you can
Yeah,
see kind of
this
the
is a better-
size of
Right.
it. It's freaking huge.
Yeah, it's crazy, you know, so they got to like dig into the ground literally to get some of this.
Yeah.
And so the family used to have an expanded operation and had all these meat lockers and stuff. And so like initially they've kind of gone through some of these freezers that they found. So
the cops did.
the cops did.
Okay.
So in some of these freezers, one of these freezers, like big chest freezer.
It's always a chest freezer.
Always a chest freezer. There's
always
nothing
a chest
shady. It's funny
freezer.
because you have a chest freezer.
I do
There's
have a chest
nothing
freezer.
shadier. As soon as I see a chest freezer, I'm like, there's a body in there. Like my immediate assumption is the
No.
only reason to have a chest freezer.
We have alligator in there.
No, you have a body in there.
No, we seriously have
You
alligator.
an alligator body in there.
We do have an alligator
But
body
just
in
because
there.
her name was Allie doesn't make it okay.
Our chest freezer is not that big.
Just kidding.
Will used to have a girlfriend named Allie. No.
It all comes around. So
Oh.
open up this chest freezer. There's 2 buckets in there.
In the chest.
In the
Okay,
chest freezer.
okay.
Imagine, there's like big Home Depot kind of.
Oh, like a tote.
Those big.
No,
gallon,
the bucket.
it's like the 5-gallon
Got it.
buckets. You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about? Imagine those, that type of thing. They pull out these buckets. There are 2 frozen heads in each, like one per bucket. Cut
No.
vertically down the middle, exactly like that one they found back in 1995. Same saw thing that had cut it and everything. Like the saw things all match up and everything.
Oh my God.
Matches up. And so it's cut in half now. So the inside is open.
The
hands have been put inside the skull. Are frozen inside the skull. And all of this is sitting on the feet. I'm not fucking kidding with this.
Okay. You can make this shit up.
Like for me, I'm sorry, that's just more
Okay, but part
disturbing
of it is
than
like
the feeding.
he really put some thought into this.
Yeah.
He's like,
He really went and did like a whole thing with that.
That goes with the stuffed horse's head. It's like
right, yeah, like preserving
maybe
it,
he was gonna
keeping
stuff,
parts
like
all together.
They talk about trophies, but holy shit.
Like, I mean, Dahmer did some fucked up shit.
My hands are in my head.
But for me,
and I'm
this
sitting
is
on my feet.
Right. That's such I don't know. There's something about the whole cutting vertically because you hear of like, like from here and it's just like the skull cap kind of thing or whatever.
Or they just have the skull hole.
yeah.
Like who cuts it? Okay.
Yeah. Like Indiana Jones, they got like the skull thing or whatever. But like
they use like a
and I mean, he had all kinds of but like he did have like butchering training as a kid kind of thing for like 6.5 years, and it would have taken 7 to actually just complete his fucking certification, but he didn't. So like the man knew his way around.
Okay, got it.
Kind of thing.
Holy poop.
So, and do I have this? Yeah. So, they found a rib bone that in like one of these pits that they had to dig into. The DNA matched that skull that they found back in 1995. They still don't know who she was. They've never been able to identify her.
That's the Jane Doe.
That's the Jane Doe.
Okay.
Yeah, who's sometimes included in the count and sometimes not. Makes it confusing.
Yeah.
So also, I don't know which one of these is more disturbing. But so now we're 5 months into exploring the farm, and these 2 cops are. It's like, okay, you 2 clear this one chest freezer or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We'd already looked through it.
How months clearing one farm?
Right? That's how many things and everything. And there's
I'd be like, I'm not
so many
I want to know what's in these freezers.
Right? So, and like, I guess, the buckets, like that was a very obvious thing of what it was.
Yeah.
They find this other freezer that has what just looks to be normal packaged meat. And so they take it to the labs and it gets tested. And it is very much proven that there are ground human remains of 2 of the victims.
I knew it.
Mixed in with the pork. And so this is now 2001, 2002. This is going down and the investigation is going on. And one of the victims is from 2001. The other victim is from 1998. So that's 4 years ago. It's possible that meat with the victim has been So they're basically they can't prove it. It's
They
not
have
been proven,
there's a good chance,
but
that it
it
was
can't be ruled out
distributed.
that may have been distributed.
So this is in 2001.
So he's caught in 2001.
They found the
but
meat
it
in
takes
2001.
18 months for the whole investigation to occur. So it's like
Well, when
somewhere
did
during
they,
that.
So they found them. Okay, but they're saying some of that meat was back in
1998.
98.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Good Lord.
So, and they again revisited the clothes from that 1997 attack on Wendy, the woman who
with the
survived.
bloody knife that got stabbed,
right? Who survived, and who before they had compared the DNA, like his DNA, to some victims that they already had and ruled him out. Now they found other bits of DNA on his clothes, and it matched back to 2 of the other victims that were missing. So at the time that they started the trial, they were going for 26 charges of murder. They ended up bringing that down to 6. And these were like the main 6 that they really had physical evidence tying to the murders. And they also felt like so many would really draw out the trial, make really confusing for the jury to keep track of what evidence goes with which case and everything. And they initially were going for 6 charges of first-degree murder, but he said he was not guilty, but also like his main defense was just like, as far as first-degree murder, you can't prove that I planned it or that I didn't have help, that I wasn't the sole perpetrator.
Okay, yeah.
So it ended up being that he is found guilty of 6 counts of second-degree murder. And there's like some other.
Isn't there something they can charge him with for like, you made us eat human remains? I don't know.
Yeah, but I guess there's not proof that he actually that was sold or whatever. So 2002, he is convicted of 6 charges of second-degree murder. And basically at that time, and they were like, the thing is, even if we go for the other 20 charges that we could go for, it won't add any more years to his.
Oh yeah, because they had a cap.
They had a cap. So he got charged with their maximum that they could possibly charge at that time, which was 25 years, no chance of parole. So not 25 years to life,
30 people.
25, yeah, even if they had all the physical evidence in the world of killing 30 people,
you still get 25
it's going to be 25 years. So, yes, exactly. It's so frustrating. And I don't understand and know the full situation as far as what state that poor woman was in. And if you're already addicted to drugs and now you've gone through something that traumatic, it's not exactly the time that you're likely to be going sober.
Could you imagine coming back from that? You're like
exactly
on drugs or whatever, or coming off drugs because you're in the hospital for a while. You've been handcuffed and stabbed. And my God.
Yeah. So, and she's still around now. I think she may have become sober since then.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. But like, so I don't know how much of it, that is.
So there was part that I did. So like I didn't get into the research like she did, but I did see where there was an interview with his friend who kind of stayed with him here and there or whatever. And you would see her just kind of break down because she was living there part-time or something. And she went looking for him one time and opened up to this room.
Yep.
Let me start over because I don't know all the stuff that you know. She had a friend that came over with her to the house that she was staying at. She went to go do something. The friend disappeared. She went to go look for him and walked into the room, and the woman was dangling. Yeah. Oh no, he had to go pick her up. You tell it.
Yeah. So it was like one of those extra details, and I'm like, I don't even know like how much to bring in. So it came out at trial, but she was, a friend who would hang out with and stay there, and she really relied on him for drugs. She went out with him. She was a
good friend, even though she was hooked.
Right. Like which is basically a friend because
he had money.
She worked for him.
But they were close. He didn't kill her.
Right. Yeah, he didn't kill all of them for whatever reason. But she worked for him. And so, and he kind of paid her more than he should for work. And it really like kind of actually helped her addiction. Like he paid her more and she was able to spend even more.
Yeah, if you could
And it
watch this interview with this girl,
Yeah,
it
it's
was
really
just
fast. But so she was hanging out with him and was in the car with him when they drove downtown and picked up a sex worker, brought her home.
she's thinking to have sex, right?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
You know, like
Not
you
unheard
would
of,
normally think kind of deal. And she has like a separate room or whatever, like different trailer. She hears like a scream in the middle of the night. And so she like gets up and is like, what's going on? And hears it again. So she goes looking around and kind of peeks into his bedroom and there's nobody there. So then she sees a light, goes outside, goes to the barn, opens the barn door, and this woman is already dead, is hanging from one of the hooks that you would hang a carcass on. And he is mid-process of processing the
The
victim
meat processing.
as if it was, yeah.
Good God.
Literally mid-process. And so he sees her, grabs her, and pulls her in and like threatens her. And she's like, look, I won't say anything. You pay me and I get my drugs and I won't say anything kind of deal.
Good God.
And
can you imagine trying to get clean from that? Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Richie Z, yes. Directly after
Yep.
this live stream is patron only.
What time is it
So
now?
we're coming up on that. You should, if you are $8 or above and you have the Patreon stream benefits, you should see that in your tier.
Lil says probably was honestly, yeah, it's like that could very much be a part of it. Like maybe he was particularly
but
like
we know
we don't
he had
know
feelings though. So
yeah, we don't know
so
what
weird.
his, you know, like motivation or any of that was, and that annoys the shit. Like I wish that because like he confessed to that one guy and like who he thought was a cellmate, but as far as I could find, there was no other like him just talking about the you know, some serial killers, especially ones like him who like the attention, have, you know, discussed it and will interview with behavioral profilers and whatever, and you can at least like get some of that mindset stuff. But
yeah, Richie, she's here until tomorrow evening, and then she goes back home to Utah.
Yeah,
so
I'm not flying home drunk.
No, she's not flying home tonight. She'll be here for the live stream. It's gonna be great. So yeah, I mean, this one was actually was it Donald Rance? It was a patron submitted.
Right. Yep.
If you're a patron, throw in Patreon things that you want us, crimes you want us to like research and maybe throw in for voting. If you're not a patron, you can email us, and it may or may not make it into patron. Patrons get to vote and choose.
Yep.
But it doesn't matter if you're a patron or not. You can send us stuff and we'll look at it.
Yeah.
You only have to be a patron if you want to vote. But please send us cocktails you want to see. Crimes you want to do. Kentucky Flyer. So you love it.
I like it. I wouldn't say I love it.
Oh, she likes it.
But I like it.
It's rye. She likes it.
Ryes belong in cocktails. This is where they belong. I would rather use a rye in a whiskey sour than a bourbon. I don't want to waste my bourbon.
Well, I was not a fan of it. And I believe I'm not a huge... It's got such a medicinal cherry because of that...
It's funny because for me, the citrus like totally
liqueur
overrides it. But I feel like if it's one of those notes you hate, then you're just going to draw that out.
Yeah,
more,
for
you know?
sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's me.
I love citrus drinks. This was not my favorite. Okay, so he went to jail.
Oh, and then last year he was murdered.
Yay!
Because technically, after 25 years, he could have very much still been alive.
He was good to get out.
He was 74 when he died last year. He was, well, I think the trial didn't finish till like 2007.
Yeah.
But like he very much could have gotten out.
Time served.
Sort of thing after the 25 years. But some other prisoner was like, F that shit, and stabbed him in the head.
Yeah, he's like, you're not
with
a
broomstick handle.
With a broomstick handle?
Yeah, with a sharpened broomstick handle.
I don't love that. Nobody thinks that. Yeah, he did. He got stabbed. Yeah, he was in prison and got shanked.
Yeah.
So what you say?
Yeah.
Shanked.
Got shanked.
She knows.
Baby. So good riddance to that douchebag. But I would like to clarify to Robert Pickton. And we have nothing against pig farmers. And
it is not the pig farmers. It is
color pork. So please, pig farmers, keep doing your job. I love you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Doing it well.
All right. So Kentucky Flyer, we've got in the description is the recipe for it. You want sources to the crime and where she got all her research. That's there too. To answer that question, we have not set our next date for Criminals and Cocktails.
No, we haven't.
But we're working on it.
Yeah.
It was nice for us to sit and spend the weekend in person because we were able to kind of, hash out some things and make plans and do some things.
Yeah, gonna make some more stuff after this.
Yeah.
Play around with her setup and everything.
Yeah, it's a new setup. We're kind of brainstorming. And then also tomorrow we've set aside some time to maybe figure out some short content. Yeah.
Maybe a little tonight.
I wish we had just like another day, but next time I'm going to go to Utah, you'll see us filming from her place.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Oh, I don't know if it'll be next time we get together in person.
Right.
I'll be up there.
Yeah.
So, hey, there's Donald Rand.
You missed it, dude.
I did for you.
Tell me whether saying Mounties was offensive or not.
We really needed you here. We needed you.
Bro, this was one of your recommendations. So,
Yeah.
And it was funny because like initially I told you I was mixed up and I thought it was a different case. And at first I was like, I don't really know that I want to get into this case. But then once I figured out what it was and got into it, I was like, this is actually really interesting. And I went down the rabbit hole. So thank you.
Yeah. So like I said, you guys submit your ideas. You never know when we're going to show up and do it. If you are a patron and your tier gives you access to our patron streams, that's where we're headed. I think it goes live in about 10 minutes. So if you're a patron, I saw some people leave, but if you're a patron, I hope you're still here because we do Patron Plinko. And it's about that time. Do you guys remember what we do? Let's see what we're playing for. Tonight, we are playing for Women of Whiskey's Glen, Women of Whiskey's Beanie, Wow Coupe Glass, Choice of T-shirt, the new Criminals and Cocktails Rocks Glass, the Boxers of Briefs, Larceny, or the Leather Journal and Pen.
We just have the mini.
We have the mini one.
So
well, yeah, you can see what that is.
This logo.
Wait, hold on, let me get this out of here. And then, okay. So this is on our rocks glass that I didn't bring one in to show you. We have 6 of them. Back a little. There you go.
Doing your try to turn your face.
Kinda. Anyway.
Turn in your face. Thumbs up. Okay. And then, well, you can picture it. It's in the top corner. It's that logo. It looks really good in person.
So we did get some rocks glasses. Now, as of right now, we just have the 6 mini Glens, 6 Glens, and 6 rocks with that logo. They are only going out for, I'm going to be dropping links for patrons. We'll have the first opportunity to buy those 6 of each. Yeah. And then some to give away.
Yeah.
And then we got big surprises coming down the line. If you haven't heard of Barrel Raised makes a lot of our glassware. Also did some special stuff that I've been trying to do. Some of you know, I've been trying to do forever. I think he got it. I think it's done. Sent me some samples. We're working out the rest. People said it couldn't be done. It can. Anyway, those are coming too. All right. Shut up. You want to play some Plinko. They want to play.
So you're going to start doing your hashtag Plinko as we play the video. Just hashtag Plinko. Doesn't matter about the capitalization. Just spell it right. P-L-I-N-K-O.
If you're a patron, hashtag Plinko.
Or
here we go.
Sign Plinko.
Yeah, pound
for
sign.
my boomers.
Patreon Plinko. It's a game to play. With whiskey in our hands, we'll make your day. Support the show. Enjoy the fun with the women of whiskeys. Cheers, everyone. Well, now you know. Yeah, it's time for Patreon Plinko.
Yay, Plinko! Don't mind the, it's there. It's
Wow,
fine.
look at how much that changes the ISO. It's funny. Okay.
The what?
Camera setting.
Oh, she's been messing with my camera.
I've been playing with it.
Let's give away stuffs.
Also, let us know if you thought the lighting and exposure and setup were better tonight, because I played around a lot with that.
Yeah, we played around because it's a new space for me,
right?
And we have the same camera, so she's helping. She's helping.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, everybody got their hashtags in. Hopefully,
where's my mouse? I lost
Richie
my
D
mouse.
says he loves the Mountains Mini Glen. Thanks, because I handmade those.
Mini blends are amazing.
I've
not
been
gonna
watching
lie.
Midsummer Murders episodes and hand make my mini blends. That's how I do it. So,
Oh, well, you hand make them. That's amazing.
well, it's just like a thing, and then you put all
the etching and
and then you wait,
stuff.
and you have to wear gloves though because it burns.
I think I did that in high school.
Yeah, and then it starts to leak under, so some of them have like a little bit of pizzazz. is
I
what
just want everyone to know. I've asked her like 10 times over the years how I buy one. I still don't have one. Just saying.
How did really?
Ben, I'll buy one. I just want one. You know, it's
This is why I took down my shelf because I said, look.
I love her. I can give her shit. Okay, it doesn't matter. We have a CNC now. All right, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna gather up our hashtag Plinkos.
Mala makes a good point. He'd rather hear it than see it, so we're gonna bring it up.
Okay, let's
Close.
bring it up.
We can leave it here, and I can bring the mic over.
We tried that
And we
one.